brother here going on budget. We now submitted. Ibo Benenyemi plan so far as the Beni Namama. Now budget committee ke sangai collect a free and remember can you give can you media on wo it mean ku wearing young person. It is only God who knows you how you propose in your heart. The only thing saying you give that piece of paper from every congregant Niniben Idian Ibat he multiply in near the budget for the year. That is how we got. And that budget, participatory. You know what budget committee is doing here? We don't limit you. We encourage you. So, if you have a formal budget, I was saying, I didn't know about ceremony. In events, I've already talked about it. Some people came up to say, Keban de vow. You never know, it is never vow. It is never vow. It's just a commitment for you. Because if you don't plan, you are going to fail. It's a plan. No, I have a baby. Know about 100 naira. I told you what. Me for Naba. I mean Nanutum. It's here okay. Say go. Why you go for about just I said, about the young ATM me. Well, I was the young ATM. It didn't care. Nobody to pay on of and Nanutum. And honestly, you don't have a source of livelihood. I want to make a room. That is why it is different from a vow. Because whatever people do not vow if you are not ready to redeem it. So, how God prospers you. It does not mean that you will no, because it is not a vow. But then there is something that has to do with faith. The woman, the widow, again that might. That was all she had. And Jesus Christ came because that is what the woman did. He carried a media so body them young nobody, young Canaan no. And she gave. Jesus he did not look at the millions. A minute percentage of all their earnings. You need to know, you forget what we them for because cheerfully. And I made young word that Annie there is a kiss remo. Nangang say from a word we there is a in here and your that is what translates to Ferino Abasin cheerfully. Now, budgeting for individuals and the church is about how we realize the money, spend and save. Budget committees to wait here, a benefit borrow, a put together, SEO budget. Budget, revenue. Na iko basi pemien nini tori ma nini amu randu fokabasi ado sembu fesio ke udoro ke basi do ngombu fo ke ko senurwa ana pe waro ke purpose giving ndu fokada hako ebo ke eno bo fok ya isena ni bi kan bo fok kore ko ome ufo ni senege ebo ke eno bo fok isena bi kan bo bitie nso bi dem aga ni bo ke. Then I want to because all these things are scripturally based. Now, in first century church, investment. So we now look at our sources of income, even if plots. Yes, plot. That is how we had our budget. So when we are still prospered by God, it means we have failed God. And saying because we are always at a state of despondency. awu wana ke kete apatrendo muyo ke abangamo anye beneno awu bas then ikereke ke apatrendo muyo gerro ni dede zigite pino wana ro zigite pino ye yes it is that same God. It is that same God. So go back a state for Sokobo. No, how do you go? Try and tell God. Say me nam gembori dem. Say member sibu. I don't know if there is one to go Malachi chapter 3 verse. But me mo ibu gibere window o for anymore. You know mufu. So that is the God we worship. So budgeting is a matter of biblical stewardship over the financial blessings God has entrusted to you. Like we had learned before, you need to steward. You need to steward. Everything you have, I don't know. I can't tell you, you don't take care for me for no kind of offense. You don't take care for, I don't want to come for no basi. They get Paul get down to Abang the game is sitting there. Okay, the grace. Grace said, original word of grace said the word of favor. I don't favor. I stand for nobody. I forget me no abasi nkpo. And no man no abasi nkpo it is not so, you can never regret as long as abasi adogo near this universe. So the next slide. As stewards, budget helps in planning. As stewards, budget helps in planning. A steward does not own anything but forsakes, or otherwise we call it surrender, what God has given him to be used for God's purpose. A steward does not own anything. I better way in a Bible steward or they get the Iranian Bible go make the Bagaraga say steward, it demodia and on Bakara. Rabbi near me get the organized good, say steward or water. I don't know for. Say for Benny near. Anie anamano awonie uzenebo nyong anyonkana atakanturo. So it is a minere inyene basen no omien. And whatever capacity God has given to me as a steward, my duty is to use it for his purpose. Luke chapter 14 verse 33. Can it be read quickly? So it is a mean forsake. The next point as a steward. Yes. Yes, that is the first and necessary condition. For you to be a disciple, you must count your cost. And including your means, including your income. Then abasu darefin the first year you know you go to beneme. Say na Amedio, I was sitting okay. Somebody was saying, would write something okay, that was yesterday. I woke up it was ball, football, a footballer to obre outside the continent. Abre ball. But it was in the middle of a game of say no company no ide song ide mbo ine mu no mba o ma yon di ke ya ba ni ide mu memefien so you can have something to rest on aye yo be na kokoro atakare di antro and I believe he was into drugs because they were ma di nyonga by the time he came back adido I want ye mete one ye meka ado and all he needs is money to go and buy drugs. So, a Christian who knows how to give to God and allow God to take possession of his earnings, so, there is a very tendency that you don't surrender to God, you are going to surrender to the devil. So, God owns our monies and possessions. 1 Chronicles chapter 29, verses 11 and 12. About the earth and everything in it belongs to the Lord. So, for you to be able to act wisely, you have to budget. Now, budgeting promotes disciplined living. Proverbs chapter 27, verses 23 and 24. Like caring for a flock, we must be prudent in caring for and budgeting the financial resources God has provided. Ana nyin na nyin ikpeme inyene nyin ikpeme se nyin itep isen inobasi ndu fogabasi. Budgeting help meet needs while avoiding debt. Most of us owe God or rob God according to Malachi chapter 3 verse 9. Awi son ifonno Agbero for Kamawi son, Udia has seen him. So imagine if you come up as his son, Akamadi as his son, because you have cheated him, or according to Malachi, you have robbed him by not giving him proportionately the way he has blessed you. So budget as a basis of commitment. Proverbs chapter 16 verse 3, about commit your works to the Lord. Committing our work to the Lord includes our money, and that is a commitment. You do this by placing God first in your budget, and your personal commitment to your budget translates to keeping to the church budget. This amount, you have impacted negatively. And we should guard against that. Now, the church has budgeted 5.6 million for the year, for this 2026, which translates to 108,000 naira every first day of the week. Like I said, how did we arrive at this figure? Akedo, Ami, Yefo, Gislu with table, say, this is no budget committee is to get here, so we want to expect that care about Senurua, to get budget engineers to work on 108,000 naira. And we have nothing is wrong. It can budget engineer 108,000 naira. This is about 200,000 naira. Because some people have got windfall. And apart from having windfall, it means some people have now seen that woman